So the setup for us was really easy because it happened during the half-term holidays. So we were able to hand over keys, and Teamtheme members of staff were able to be on site, so there was absolutely no impact on the school day for any of our staff team. So that worked really, really well for us. We came back after the holidays and the pool was there and it was up and running and ready to go, which was really good. In terms of fitting it into our school day, well, that was really easy. It just ran alongside our regular timetable. It was seamless, in fact. So every day the pupils were invited to go down to the pool, and they would have their regular timetable happening in the classroom at the same time. And they would come and go in groups, and the teachers would just set a list of things that by the end of the morning you need to have completed X, Y and Z in between managing yourself up and down from the playground, from the pool. So for us, in terms of how it slotted into our school life, into our everyday running of the school, it was seamless. So the impact of having qualified educators on site for us was really beneficial. One of the drawbacks of going to the local pool for us is that it has such an impact on lost learning time in school. So having educators on site that we could trust to do a really good job allowed the teachers to focus on teaching the rest of the class at the same time, as I mentioned, with children coming and going throughout the course of the morning. So it had absolutely no impact on the delivery of the rest of our curriculum, which was a huge, huge pro for us. So before we had the pool here this year, we used to travel to Faversham Pool, which is our closest leisure centre, but the cost of getting to the pool was just becoming unaffordable for us with the rising cost of transport. Because we're quite rural here, we can't rely on public transport, and we were looking at sort of £500 a week just for the cost of the travel to get up to Faversham. So we did a little bit of research, we found this as an alternative option, and it seemed like a no-brainer for us to explore that. We sold it to parents in the community, tried to get as much buy-in from the community as we possibly could, and it turned out to be a much better option in terms of value for money. Although initially on paper it probably did cost us a little bit more than it would to go to Faversham, the quality of what we got, the amount of time the children got in the pool with qualified educators was just far better than it would have been by travelling to Faversham. When you factor in things like road closures in this rural area and traffic and all those sorts of issues, some weeks at Faversham the children were simply getting 20-25 minutes in the pool once they'd changed. So to be able to come and go freely throughout the morning and have up to 45 minutes in the pool, although a little bit more expensive on paper, much better value for money for us in terms of what we had before. So one thing that we really noticed during the programme was the increased levels of engagement in lessons outside of the swimming. So where those children perhaps would struggle to focus for long periods of time, where they were getting 45 minutes of regular daily exercise every morning in the pool, we were noticing that for the rest of the day it was having a really, really big impact on their ability to sustain their focus and attention throughout the rest of the curriculum, and the teachers were really clear about that. A couple of parents really wanted to pick out the educators as well, the swimming instructors that were on site. A couple of them naming Nathan and talking about how he went above and beyond to establish a really good relationship with their child. They felt safe allowing that to happen on school site, and really reassured. A couple of them wanted to speak to Nathan just to ask a couple of questions and clear a couple of queries around groupings and things like that. And Nathan was really accommodating of that, and that really came through in the parent survey afterwards. So a couple of the parents in the survey wanted to note that although their children have swimming lessons outside of school, they felt that their child was still really challenged. They were able to pose those questions on the first day of the programme, where the coaches were available for parents to come in and ask any questions that they would need to. Because we have quite a lot of children here that do swim outside of school. I know that's not the case in every school, but it is generally for us. So a lot of our queries were around, what are those particular children going to get out of this programme? And Nathan and the team were really clear about how they would be able to challenge those already quite able swimmers, And in our parent survey at the end of the programme, that was really noted. A couple of parents really wanted to be clear about how they felt that they'd been listened to and that their child had been sufficiently challenged throughout the programme. We've got one child that swims for county and swims every day after school, still took part in the programme, and their swimming instructors, as part of that, noted that they'd seen an improvement in their technique, particularly their butterfly technique, as a result of the extra tuition that child had at school during the programme. So it just goes to show how, you know, it really catered for all swimming abilities and needs, and something that we were really impressed by. So because we had such a good experience, it is something that we are looking to do again. And we've also reached out to some of the other local primary schools, Charlton being one of them, Selling being another one, to see if we can maybe get them on board next time, so we can kind of share the cost of having the pool on site. Now that we've got all the relevant ports and connections and things that we need to be able to host the pool on the playground, we kind of see if we can open that up to the rest of the local community, and we can kind of share that offer with other schools to help them with financial challenges and pressures that they might face. It is a difficult one because I think it depends on the context of your school, because we have to rely on parents here to help support the cost of swimming. We had to ensure that we had a really high level of buy-in, so I had to think really carefully about how I pitched it to the parent community here. So we had parents in, they were able to ask questions. I wrote them a letter with a real breakdown of how the programme would work. I showed them pictures of previous setups in other schools, so they could get a really good sense of what it would look like, having obviously never seen it before, to ensure that we've got as many parents as possible offering a voluntary contribution towards the cost. So I think my main piece of advice to anybody considering it, depending on your circumstances, would be just think about how you pitch that to your community to make sure that it really works for you.
I'd say I really enjoyed not only like the experience of having a pool like on site, but as well the teachers. I think that the swimming teachers were also like really nice, and they were really good at like just keeping us engaged and stuff like that. And I'd say my favourite bit was that I learned how to do butterfly, and I got pretty good at it actually. And I was pretty happy because I thought that like we wouldn't have enough time to learn how to do a whole new stroke, but I managed to learn to do butterfly and I got really good at it. I'd say that was my favourite bit.
So my favourite part personally was playing the activities at the ends with my friends, because it was just a lot of fun. And then my second favourite was probably actually learning it, because we did like laps around and it was just really fun. So
yeah. Well, I really enjoyed, so when I went back to my actual swimming lessons, I'd really improved. I was really struggling with my breaststroke and my butterfly, and they gave some really useful tips on how to, like, you have to be really powerful and you have to, like, just some really good, like, and no, they were just really good at teaching, and I was much better after, so that was really good. And the lessons were also so fun, whereas like I thought that it would be a bit like boring, whereas they made it so fun, and like it was my favourite part of the day at school. So I just loved it, and I was so excited, and I loved just doing all the games, and yeah, like I just loved it, like everything.
they were good actually. They were really fun, especially when Nathan got in the pool. Happily, yeah, I'd do it again, because it's just fun in general.
Oh, I would happily do it in the future, because I think that there's always room for improvement, and knowing how much I improved last time, I could improve even more, and I would love that.
I'd make sure to tell them that it's definitely worth it going to every single lesson, even if you feel tired one day. It's like you need to go, because it's like it makes you feel a lot like happier and nicer after being in the pool. And also, I mean, it got really hot when the pool was out there. It's just a really nice way to cool down and just have fun with your friends whilst also learning and being active. I'd say that would be my biggest piece of advice, to make sure that you're going consistently every day.
Definitely, I would, because I would tell them how fun it was, and I would tell them that like I didn't think I would enjoy it that much, but then how much I did enjoy it, I would tell them that they would love it, and I would tell them that like they would improve so much doing it. So